this is a quote, a lot of people had access to that Tesla. That's from somebody connected to all of this, and maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But if they did,
well, that would definitely complicate.
So I'm saying, let me think outside the box. Maybe his mama done it. Maybe her mama done it and set him up. Maybe one of them racist uncles or cousins don't like a maybe the other boyfriend done it. Maybe the pimp who was sex trafficking her for the last year when she ran away done it.
The internet's been wild over this one. This ain't just gossip. It's a full-blown nightmare that turned real fast. David's manager, Josh Marshall, went from managing hits to facing handcuffs. The man who was supposed to build careers is now being accused of destroying lives. It all started when fans caught on to something that just didn't sit right between Josh, David, and a young girl named Celeste Rivas Hernandez. People online began whispering, Josh knew she was only 14, yet he still had her living with him, and David like that was normal behavior. That's when everything flipped. The whole story took a dark, twisted turn that had everyone's jaw dropping. Next thing you know, the feds stepped in and Josh got snatched up, arrested after footage came out allegedly showing him forcing Celeste into a Tesla. That video went viral in seconds. Prosecutors are saying this could land him behind bars for life. Imagine that. Life for someone who was supposed to be guiding artists, not dragging them into scandals. But here's the part that really got people heated. There were red flags everywhere before this mess even blew up. Fans, friends, everybody tried to sound the alarm. Josh wasn't just clueless. He was warned months before it went left. Back in February 2024, Celeste's family friends sent him an email with a whole missing person report attached. Every detail right there. The message even said, "We know Celeste is living with you guys. She needs to come home." And what happened next? The very next day, Celeste came home. That proves Josh can't play dumb now. He saw the message, he knew she was missing, knew she was just 14, and still let her back around his client. That's not just poor judgment, that's straight up disturbing.
Him and that they included the missing persons flyer. She's a missing person. She's, 12 or 13 at that time. And the next, I think it was the next day or the day after, she showed up. She just showed up on her own, back home.
Weeks later, Celeste was right back in that same apartment with Josh and David, like nothing ever happened. The audacity is unreal. This ain't just gossip, it's cold, verified truth coming from people who were fighting nonstop to bring that girl home. The timeline didn't come from some random fan page. It came straight from folks close to Celeste who saw everything unfold right in front of them. And when you think about it, if you're managing a signed artist under Interscope Records and somebody tells you a missing 14-year-old is staying in your client's house, what would you do? You call the police, right? You'd alert the family, protect your client's name, your career, everything. But not Josh. He stayed quiet, dead silent, didn't say a single word. And that silence, it spoke volumes. Private investigator Steve Fisher, who's been on this case for months, even went on Pop Crime TV and said, the silence from Josh, David, and Interscope is deafening. That one statement shook social media, because when people stay quiet in the middle of a storm like this, the world starts thinking they've got something to hide. Even after Celeste was found that first time, Josh hopped online acting like the innocent one. He denied everything, claimed he never got that email, never lived with David, and had no idea who Celeste even was. But TikTok wasn't having it. Users went full detective mode, pulling screenshots, old posts, and receipts that tore through his story like wildfire. And when Celeste's own friends admitted they went to Josh right after she disappeared, that sealed it. Why would her friends go straight to him if he was so innocent? That's not coincidence, that's connection. At that point, this stopped looking like bad PR and started feeling like something darker, something sinister hiding behind the scenes. Then just when people thought he'd lay low, Josh posted a long statement online, trying to sound all responsible, talking about how he's a father of 3 and had nothing to do with Celeste. But that move only made things worse. People called it damage control, not truth. The internet could smell the panic. Josh tried to brush it all off like it was nothing. He wrote online, "The video is false and the person is misinformed. This has been a tough time for my family. I received no emails. I had zero knowledge of anything on the surface." That might sound like a man defending himself, but to everyone watching, it reeked of pure damage control. The receipts told a whole different story. That email did exist, and Celeste's friends confirmed she'd been with him twice that same month. Twice! So how did she end up right back under his roof again? That's when everything spiraled out of control. People were confused, angry, heartbroken, because this wasn't some rumor mill drama anymore. This was a real-life tragedy unfolding in front of everyone's eyes. And then came the part that froze the internet cold. When police finally found Celeste's body, she was wearing a bracelet with one single letter. M. Fans instantly made the connection. Josh Marshall had been spotted countless times wearing a gold chain with the same exact letter. Maybe it was coincidence, but nobody believed that. Not after everything else that came out. The public wasn't buying that wrong place, wrong time story anymore. This looked personal. According to LAPD reports, Celeste's body had been inside that Tesla for weeks before it was discovered. Weeks! And get this, neighbors said the car was parked outside the whole time in plain sight. Not in a garage, not covered. Just sitting there like nothing happened. It's haunting to think that a car carrying that kind of secret was right there, in full view, and nobody realized the horror hiding inside. When 2 yard workers caught a whiff of a foul smell drifting from that Tesla, they knew something was seriously wrong. They called the police, and what investigators found next was straight up horrifying. Celeste's remains were discovered wrapped inside a bag, dismembered, and left in the trunk. That's not an accident. That's a calculated cover-up, the kind that sends chills down your spine just thinking about it. But it didn't stop there. It got even darker. A neighbor near David's Hollywood Hills home found a Tesla keycard just lying in the gutter. They picked it up, realized it could be evidence, and handed it straight to the LAPD. That moment changed everything. Suddenly, all the pieces started clicking into place. The car, the missing girl, and the people tied to both. It was all connected. And still, Josh wouldn't quit denying it. He went right back online posting, "Stop creating false narratives. I don't live in California. I had zero knowledge of anything. But come on, at that point, nobody was buying it." Fans weren't fooled for a second. Across TikTok, Reddit, and X, online detectives went full throttle, digging up every clue, every inconsistency, every suspicious move. And no matter how deep they searched, every trail seemed to lead right back to Josh. Meanwhile, over on David's official subreddit, where more than 200,000 fans gathered, people started running their own investigation. They shared screenshots, dissected old lyrics, and picked apart his past music videos frame by frame. And suddenly, those visuals everyone once thought were artistic started looking a whole lot darker. What used to seem like creativity now looked like confession, and the internet couldn't unsee it. Then, out of nowhere, boom, the Reddit posts about Celeste started vanishing. Whole threads gone overnight. Every conversation, every theory, every bit of fan-led investigation, deleted without a trace. People started panicking, wondering who was behind it all. And when users finally checked who was moderating the page, it blew everyone's mind. It was David himself. That's when the realization hit. He wasn't just silent, he was scrubbing evidence. Fans realized David had been deleting every post that made him look guilty, every comment that tied his name to Celeste. And not long after that, the entire subreddit got locked down. But instead of killing the story, that lockdown just lit the internet on fire. The mystery only made people dig deeper. And what they found next made everything explode. Turns out Celeste might not have been the only one. Multiple people came forward saying David had a pattern of chasing younger girls. One even claimed she was still in middle school when he allegedly started reaching out. Another said he took secret trips to LA and paid off her friends to keep quiet. That's not rumor. That's what witnesses are claiming firsthand. Months before Celeste's death, one chilling TikTok comment started resurfacing. It read, "Waiting for LAPD to get your ass for messing with that 13-year-old girl." That comment was posted back in February 2024, months before anyone even knew about the Tesla or Celeste's disappearance. And now, reading that line hits completely different. It feels like a warning no one took seriously. After that old TikTok resurfaced, the internet exploded. Theories, evidence, outrage. Every corner of social media was flooded with threads and breakdowns. People were rewatching interviews, dissecting his body language, replaying clips from concerts, searching for any sign they missed before. Suddenly, every lyric, every music video, every dark creative choice David ever made was being put under the microscope. Fans even revisited his video, "One More Dance," where David plays both a killer and a victim, dragging a body across the floor and shoving it into a car trunk. Back when it dropped, Everyone thought it was just cinematic art, a bit edgy, sure, but harmless. But now, after police found Celeste's body in a Tesla, the same kind of car David drives, fans started saying it looked more like a confession caught on camera. It's the kind of eerie coincidence that gives you goosebumps. The more people looked, the more it felt like David had been hiding the truth in plain sight, and nobody realized until it was way too late. Whether it was just coincidence or something way darker, that moment sent chills through everyone watching. People couldn't believe how eerie the parallels were. It felt like a movie plot, except it was real life, and it was terrifying. While the internet was breaking down every frame, analyzing every lyric, and hunting for hidden clues, one group stayed completely silent. Interscope Records. Not a word, no statement, no press release, not even a "we're aware of the situation." Nothing. That silence spoke volumes. The same label that once signed Cassie back when she was still a teenager suddenly had nothing to say about a 14-year-old found in a car belonging to one of their artists. Fans were furious. They started calling it what it looked like: damage control disguised as silence. People said Interscope wasn't protecting justice. They were protecting their money. And that quiet corporate denial only made the public angrier. Soon that outrage turned into a full-blown online war. Fans took to X, formerly Twitter, and went off. They started dragging David, Josh, and Interscope like never before. Old interviews, private emails, and screenshots started circulating everywhere. People reposted the exact email that proved Josh had been warned about Celeste's situation months earlier. The evidence was stacking up like a mountain, and nobody on the label's side was saying a single word. Then came the tweet that broke the internet. One viral post read, "The silence is deafening. David, you got nothing to say about your underage girlfriend being found in your car, and you, Josh Marshall, you managed him. How are both of you still this quiet?" That post hit millions of views in just hours, with everyone quoting it, tagging the LAPD, and demanding answers. At that point, this wasn't gossip. It was outrage fueled by proof. People were done speculating. They wanted arrests. One user wrote, "Arrest these two. One or both of them did something to Estee. Josh knew she was underage and missing. Lock them both up." The tone online shifted instantly. This wasn't entertainment anymore. This was justice. It stopped being a rumor and started looking like a full-on cover-up. The silence from the label, the deleted posts, the vanishing evidence, everything screamed conspiracy, and the world was watching, waiting, demanding to know what really happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Fans were convinced. David, his manager Josh, and even the label were working together to bury the truth. The longer they kept quiet, the guiltier they looked. That silence wasn't protecting anyone. It was exposing them. People started calling it the Hollywood hush-up, saying they were all in on the same dark secret. But then, something changed. Real people, those who actually knew Celeste, started speaking out. Not influencers chasing clicks, not random online voices. These were people who lived it. And that's when the story took an even more heartbreaking turn. Celeste's ex-boyfriend Damien came forward with gut-wrenching details that shattered everyone listening. He said, "Celeste used to joke about running away, but sometimes it didn't sound like a joke." He remembered her laughing about leaving her hometown of Lake Elsinore behind, but deep down, he could tell there was something she was running from, not just running to. And then one day, she was gone, just vanished. Damien's mom, Jamie, backed up everything. She said Celeste had opened up about having a hard time at home, about feeling trapped and misunderstood. It wasn't shocking that she wanted to escape, but what was shocking was how quickly that escape turned deadly. Later, official records confirmed what no one wanted to believe. Celeste had been reported missing 3 different times in 2024 before she disappeared for good in April. 3 times! That's not just bad luck, that's a pattern. A desperate cry for help that no one truly listened to until it was far too late. And the worst part? Guess who allegedly knew all about her situation? The disappearances, the instability, the warnings? Josh Marshall. The same man who was supposed to be managing artists, not manipulating teenagers. Every new revelation made the silence from David's team look even more suspicious. The public was done waiting. They wanted the truth, and they weren't letting this story die quietly. Insiders started spilling everything about Josh Marshall, and what they revealed had the internet furious. They claimed Josh knew exactly what was going on in Celeste's life. He wasn't some clueless bystander. He allegedly knew she was a runaway, knew she was struggling at home, and instead of helping her get somewhere safe, he used that pain to pull her in closer. That's what makes this so disturbing. People close to the situation said Josh was the one who convinced her to leave home and stay with him. And when you look back now, that decision feels chilling. What seemed like a mentor helping a young fan suddenly looks sinister in hindsight, because instead of protecting her, that move might have been the exact step that led to her death. The thought of a grown man, a father of 3 no less, allegedly luring a teenage girl into that kind of environment had people online absolutely enraged. But here's the kicker. This wasn't even Josh's first scandal. Turns out, this man had a history of being tied to messy situations. He once managed rapper Lil Mosey, and fans immediately remembered when Mosey faced serious legal trouble a while back. Guess who helped him walk free? The same lawyers connected to Interscope and to Josh himself. That connection sent the internet spiraling. Suddenly, people started wondering if these weren't isolated incidents at all, but part of a bigger, dirtier pattern. The same names, the same law teams, the same eerie silence every time something went wrong. Fans said it felt like Josh wasn't unlucky. He was untouchable, and that realization flipped everything. The outrage wasn't just about Celeste anymore. It was about a system that kept letting men like him slide through cracks while victims were left voiceless. Online threads filled with screenshots, timelines, and theories, because one thing was clear: Josh Marshall's name showing up in yet another dark case wasn't coincidence anymore. It was a pattern that demanded answers. But not everyone was ready to believe David was guilty. A wave of defenders came out saying he was being dragged into something he had nothing to do with. One of the loudest voices was Charleston White. He hopped on live stream and went off. He said, he didn't do it. If they had even a little bit of proof, they'd have locked him up already. They locked folks up for way less than this. According to Charleston, the fact that David was still walking around free meant LAPD didn't have anything solid on him. And honestly, that argument had some people second-guessing things for a moment.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
He didn't do it.
Fuck out of here. All the evidence that's out there.
Listen, hold on. If they find a dead body in me and your car, and this is our car, do you think they'll let me and you stay out like long? They got out. So think about this.
But then came another twist that flipped the case upside down again. If the LAPD really didn't have enough to pin on David, maybe that's exactly why the feds shifted focus toward Josh Marshall. Reports started surfacing saying investigators were holding serious evidence, like we're talking next level stuff. Allegedly, there was possible video and photo footage from inside that Tesla. That's no longer rumor, that's courtroom level proof. The type of evidence that could end someone's freedom forever. People online went wild saying if that footage turns out to be real, Josh might never see daylight again. This wasn't about cancel culture or fan theories anymore. It was about justice. And suddenly, the internet's tone changed completely. The jokes, the gossip, the speculation, it all stopped. People were now talking about accountability, about a 14-year-old girl whose life was taken too soon, and the adults who failed her at every turn. At this point, nobody cared about David's music or his fame anymore. The playlist stopped, the streams dropped, and every post under his name turned into a crime discussion thread. The spotlight wasn't on his art, it was on his silence, his circle, and the dark cloud of secrets hanging over all of them. People weren't just talking anymore, they were demanding justice. The internet turned into a courtroom. Comment sections under Interscope's official pages were flooded with rage. Thousands tagging LAPD, FBI, and every crime journalist they could find. Hashtags exploded across platforms. The story had officially gone national. And for the first time, even mainstream media outlets were forced to cover it. What started as internet gossip had now become a full-blown federal case with life-changing consequences. What made this whole tragedy so disturbing was how preventable it all seemed. That's what broke people the most. If Josh had just reported that first email, if he had stepped up like a real manager instead of hiding behind his connections, Celeste might still be alive today. Instead, he went into panic mode, dropping PR statements, denying evidence, and blaming the internet for false narratives. But none of those excuses could erase what happened. While Josh was busy trying to save his reputation, a family was grieving, a mother was broken, and a young girl's story was echoing around the world. It wasn't just another headline anymore, it was heartbreak on display. The more details came out, the clearer it became that this wasn't a simple scandal, it was a nightmare unraveling in real time. Fans weren't just speculating, they turned into detectives. Every screenshot, every timestamp, every deleted post was being picked apart like a case file. Reddit threads mapped out timelines, TikTok creators analyzed footage frame by frame, and YouTube channels went deep into every inconsistency. The online community was doing what the powerful refused to, searching for truth. Meanwhile, the wall of silence from David, Josh, and Interscope was starting to crack. The more they tried to control the story, the louder the truth became. Fans could feel that something was being hidden, and they weren't letting go until it came to light. And that's when one question started echoing across every platform. How did so many adults with money, power, and influence fail one 14-year-old girl so completely? Celeste's story had taken over the entire internet. TikTok, Reddit, YouTube, everywhere. Even major news outlets couldn't ignore it anymore. People started finding old clips of her from before she disappeared. Moments where she looked scared, distant, almost like she was silently begging for help. Some said it was all there, in plain sight, and nobody saw it until it was too late. The world finally realized this wasn't just about celebrity scandal. It was about a child who got lost in a system that chose silence over truth, and that silence was now screaming louder than ever. Then came the part that broke everyone's heart. Messages surfaced from Celeste's own friends, begging her to come home. The screenshots showed it all. They told her things like, "You don't sound safe, please come back, and we're worried about you." Reading those messages hit like a punch to the gut. While the music industry was obsessing over image, profit, and PR control, a child was trapped in a situation that should have never existed in the first place. And then, Josh Marshall's downfall hit like a storm. Once the feds made their move, everything flipped overnight. The same man who was once managing rising artists was suddenly plastered all over the news in cuffs. Social media went wild. People were celebrating his arrest, saying it was long overdue. Hashtags like #JusticeForCeleste and #Lockup Josh Marshall took over timelines within hours. Reports confirmed the feds were building a mountain of evidence against him. Digital records, emails, surveillance footage, and even witness testimonies. Insiders claimed investigators had enough to lock him away for life. And when word got out that authorities might have footage from inside that Tesla, everything stopped. That rumor alone sent shockwaves through the internet. If that footage turned out to be real, it would be the final nail in the coffin. That kind of proof couldn't be twisted, denied, or hidden behind fancy lawyers. It was solid, cold truth, and it made Josh's "I didn't know anything" defense collapse in seconds. Meanwhile, David went completely silent. No interviews, no live appearances, no social media posts, nothing. He ghosted the internet like he vanished into thin air, and that silence only made people angrier. Fans flooded his old posts with comments like, "Say something," and "A girl died in your car, why are you hiding?" It wasn't even about guilt anymore. It was about accountability. Whether David was directly involved or not, a 14-year-old had been found dead in his car, and pretending it didn't happen wasn't an option anymore. The internet wasn't asking for excuses or PR spin, they wanted the truth. And that silence from David, it felt like an admission all on its own. Every day he stayed quiet, more people turned against him. The once loyal fans became investigators, detectives, and critics, demanding to know what really went down behind closed doors. Then, behind the scenes, even more dirt started leaking out. Reports claimed Josh had been warned multiple times about the risks of working so closely with underage fans online. Instead of taking those warnings seriously, he allegedly doubled down. Witnesses said he got even more involved, blurring boundaries, crossing lines, and thinking his connections made him untouchable. At that point, the story wasn't just about one man's fall, it was about an entire system built to protect the powerful, until the internet finally said enough. Screenshots and leaked messages between Josh and his inner circle told the real story. They showed a man scrambling to cover his tracks. He was allegedly trying to control the narrative before everything exploded. Messages hinted at hush plans, deleted files, and private group chats where he coached people on what to say if questioned. But no matter how slick he thought he was, the evidence trail was already too long and way too public. Once the feds stepped in, it was game over. Every single denial he ever posted online came back to haunt him, especially that moment when he swore he didn't even live in California. Turns out that was a flat-out lie. Court filings and property records confirmed he did have a residence there, right around the same time Celeste was reportedly staying with him and David. That revelation destroyed what was left of his defense. Then the people who used to work with Josh and David started talking. Crew members, assistants, even drivers. One former team member dropped a statement that hit everyone like a brick. They said everyone around them knew something wasn't right, but nobody spoke up because money was flowing. That one line said it all. It exposed the dark truth behind the glossy image, the kind of silence that keeps the industry running no matter who gets hurt. The public realized this wasn't just about two men. It was about a system that rewards quiet complicity. People started calling it industry blindness, where the checks are big enough that nobody asks questions. Soon, all eyes turned to Interscope Records, the powerhouse label known for working with some of the biggest names in music. They were suddenly under more pressure than ever. Fans flooded their official pages demanding answers, asking how a company with that much money, power, and reach could stay completely silent while one of their artists was tied to something this horrific. The label's refusal to say anything, no statement, no denial, no empathy, became its own scandal. The silence from Interscope was deafening, and people online started saying it louder than ever. When money talks, morality disappears. The longer they stayed quiet, the more complicit they looked, and by then, the damage was done. Then came the part that shattered everyone's hearts, the moment Celeste's family finally spoke out. They weren't chasing attention or viral fame, they just wanted justice. Her aunt sat down for an interview, voice trembling, and said through tears, all Celeste ever wanted was to sing, dance, and feel free. She trusted the wrong people. That one sentence cut through the noise. It summed up everything, every warning missed, every red flag ignored, every adult who failed her. Celeste wasn't just another name in a headline. She wasn't a hashtag or a trending topic. She was a 14-year-old girl who got trapped in a system that looked glamorous from the outside, but was rotting from the inside out. After that interview, the whole internet shifted. What had started as gossip now felt like grief. People weren't just talking about drama anymore. They were mourning innocence lost and realizing how fame can disguise real danger. As the investigation pushed forward, social media turned into a digital courtroom. Fans became reporters, influencers turned into activists, and the pressure on everyone tied to the case went through the roof. Josh's name was trending non-stop, followed by hashtags like #JusticeForCeleste and #ProtectYoungArtists. People demanded transparency, accountability, and real change. Even celebrities started weighing in. A few major names spoke out publicly, saying Celeste's story deserved way more coverage and that the industry had to stop protecting predators disguised as professionals. The movement grew fast, bigger than anyone expected, and it showed no signs of slowing down. Meanwhile, David's silence became its own kind of confession. He stayed completely off the grid. No statements, no appearances, no new music. And the world noticed. His brand deals started vanishing one by one, his shows got canceled, and his streaming numbers dropped like a rock. The industry that once celebrated him began turning its back, afraid to be tied to a scandal that had become too dark to ignore. By the time federal prosecutors officially stepped in, it was clear. This wasn't an internet conspiracy. This was real, cold, undeniable, and horrifyingly true. The emails, the timeline, the deleted footage, the silence, it all lined up perfectly. The puzzle that had seemed scattered for months suddenly made sense, and the truth was staring everyone right in the face. Whether Josh Marshall was the one who directly caused Celeste's death or was simply a man who knew too much and stayed quiet, his role couldn't be erased. His silence carried weight, and that weight crushed everything around him. Celeste's story became more than a headline, it became a warning, a brutal reminder that sometimes the people smiling in the spotlight are the ones hiding the darkest secrets. And the saddest part, she trusted them because the world told her she could. Now the entire world's watching, waiting for that final court decision. Everyone wants to know if Josh Marshall will spend the rest of his life behind bars, and if David will ever break his silence and finally speak on what really went down. The tension is thick. Every headline, every post, every update feels like the calm before the storm. But one thing's for sure, the truth always finds a way out. No matter how many people try to bury it, delete it, or silence it, it always rises to the surface. This story didn't just break the internet, It exposed the underbelly of an industry that too often hides darkness behind fame, money, and flashing lights. It shook the music world to its core, leaving fans questioning everything they thought they knew about the people they idolized. The mask came off, the secrets came out, and the illusion shattered for good. What started as whispers on social media turned into a global reckoning, a story that showed evil doesn't always hide in the shadows. Sometimes it stands right under the spotlight, smiling for the cameras. And now, we've reached the breaking point, where silence meets justice and the whole world is holding its breath. The truth about Celeste Rivas Hernandez isn't just a story anymore. It's a mirror showing everything wrong with power, fame, and protection in the music game. Whether Josh Marshall ends up behind bars for life or David finally steps out to face what's coming, one thing's crystal clear: you can't hide forever. The internet made sure that fans, journalists, and truth seekers turned this entire case into a movement that exposed how darkness can live right in front of our faces, dressed in fame and luxury. The story that started as whispers online turned into one of the most chilling scandals the industry's ever seen, and it's still unfolding in real time. Every deleted post, every lie, every cover-up, none of it could stop what came next. The world woke up. People finally realized how easy it is for the wrong people to hide behind the spotlight while the innocent suffer in silence. Celeste's story will never be forgotten. It became a warning, a legacy, and a demand for change that the industry can't run from anymore. And if you think this is the last secret the music world's hiding, think again, because this isn't the end. It's just the beginning of what's about to come next. Stay locked in, because we're digging even deeper into what really goes on behind the velvet ropes, the brand deals, and the cameras. You already know where the truth lives, right here on BarzBuzz, where the stories don't get buried, they get exposed. If this saga had you shook, wait till you see what's next. You already know what it is. BarzBuzz got the real, raw, and unfiltered breakdowns. So don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to catch up.